guys, welcome back to another video. Here we're going to have a look at the exam questions for component 1 section A. Now I've already done this for advertising. If you haven't already had a look at those, then check them out in the playlist, and I'll pop a little ident card up in the top for one of them to get you started. What we're doing here is we're having a look at the sample assessment materials, or SAMs, which you can access from the Educast website yourself. Basically, they're a set of practice questions to help you with your revision, and from these practice questions you can actually create your own. So if you have a look at the first question here, which is based on the 1950s advert for Quality Street, if we were going to change this to suit one of our magazines, we could say explore how the magazine front cover for GQ uses those following elements of media language to create meanings. Question 2A, explore how social context influences magazines. Brilliant. Let's just change it to how cultural context influences magazines, and we can refer to GQ to support our points. That way we're changing not only the focus but also the magazine that we're referring to as well. And then 2B, we're going to compare the representation of men instead of women in GQ and this edition of Men's Health. You can just get a quick Google search for men's magazines and pick a front cover to help you practice your questions. So looking at question 1 then here, if you didn't catch the previous video, this is our mark scheme, and the only difference between getting a grade 1 mark and a grade 5 marks, sort of, is these individual words here. So going from minimal to excellent. That's the only thing that differentiates what mark you're actually going to get, and it doesn't take a lot to get you into that 5 mark band. So one of the things that I like to get my students to do is to highlight the keywords of the question, because I think it's always helpful so that you know at a glance what you're being expected to do. So we're looking at exploring this front cover, and we're focusing on how that language creates meanings. So in terms of images, we've only got one main image really, which is the rock. Language wise, we've got much more that we can comment on. Obviously his pseudonym, but also these imperative verbs, man up. Also the style manual will be quite useful for us as well. And layout and design looks at the entire piece as a whole. Oh, and a little bit more language at the bottom there and at the top. High production values as always, guys. So have a look at my answer then, and let's see how I've done. The main image on the GQ front cover is of Dwayne Johnson. The producers have chosen a close-up shot in order to emphasise his physique, in particular his biceps. The camera shot also helps to show his serious and stern direct mode of address, which could also help connote strength and power. Another symbol used on the cover is the bull symbol, included at the bottom of the exclamation mark. This is in reference to Johnson's Brahma bull tattoo that the main cover line is laid over. This combines the image and cover line to provide anchorage. Have I given excellent detailed analysis? Yeah, I have, but I do again think that I could include a third paragraph, because if I was writing this out, I would have time to include a little bit more, perhaps on, I don't know, actually thinking about it, I don't know, maybe not. And consistent focus. Have I given a consistent focus? Yes, I have, which is more than can be said about my videos, which are not always consistent in their production values. But yes, good. I think I get into sort of the top band here. You could add a third paragraph, and in fact, if we have a look at language and layout, you might find that I do slightly better. Now, I'm not going to mark these for you. Instead, you guys are going to tell me what you think I'd get, and you can leave them in the comments section down below. The language on the cover of GQ centres around masculinity. The cover lines include the imperative man up, as well as the term masculinity included in the strapline at the top of the page. This helps to identify the target demographic and also gives some information as to the narratives included inside the magazine. Furthermore, buzzwords are included to raise interest and enigma. The strapline includes the phrase special issue, and they've also included a plus story at the bottom of the page to make the demographic feel like they're getting more from the magazine than their competitors. And layout and design. The layout of the magazine front cover can appear crowded. This emphasises the fact that the magazine includes a lot of content and makes it seem like it's good value for money for the demographic. The main cover lines on the magazine are also laid out vertically down Johnson's forearm. This makes his biceps seem larger, which is in keeping with the theme of the issue. The house style also helps to convey the theme of the issue. Reds and blacks have connotations of strength and power, which is part of GQ's ideology. All right, question 2A then. Explain how cultural context influences magazines. Refer to the GQ front cover to support our points. So, again, we need to focus on cultural context, not social context, as I've put in that bubble there. Cultural context, how it influences magazines, and we need to refer to GQ front cover as evidence only. Okay, so, masculinity. Obviously, masculine culture is going to influence magazines, particularly if it's a lifestyle magazine. So we'd expect to see elements of masculinity in a male lifestyle magazine. Within that, we're going to have certain stereotypes and expectations, which we're going to expect to see appear throughout the front cover. And we're also going to see the culture reflected through our cover stars as well. Again, the mark scheme seems very familiar, and that's because we've still got these same words used to denote whether we're at 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. So let's have a look. The main way that cultural context can be seen through the magazine front covers is through the ideology that's portrayed in the language and layout. Right, there is my point. Cultural context influences magazines through the ideology, language and layout. Here's my evidence. For example, the GQ front cover includes several references to masculinity, what it means to be a man. This masculinity can also be seen through stereotyping, which is another way to convey cultural context. The role of men has changed over time. In the GQ cover, a stronger, more traditional idea of what it means to be a man rather than a modern metrosexual man. Finally, cultural context can also be seen through the cover stars that are included. In the GQ front cover, Dwayne Johnson is included, which provides representation to members of the demographic who are also black. It would not have been the case decades earlier. Have I given excellent, detailed and accurate knowledge of social context or cultural context here in magazines? Yes. Have I given reference to, in this instance, GQ magazine? Yes. All right, but this is the big one. This is the one that matters. 25 marks, more marks than any other question on your exams as a whole. Now, I've split this up into different colours so that we can see when I'm planning. If it's similar, it's going to be in blue. If it's different, it's going to be in purple. Okay, so I will get the cover of Men's Health to come up eventually. Hashtag high production values. A similarity is that they both emphasise their physique and strength. Another similarity is that the cover stars are used to provide aspiration for the demographic, somebody to look up to work towards and to aspire to be like. However, Men's Health only focuses on health and fitness, not on style as we've seen in GQ. And the cover star on the Men's Health cover, here he is not as emphasised as in GQ. So we can see that the Rock is made more of a statement by the fact he's got a matching cover line compared to in Men's Health. Okay, hopefully that all makes sense. I'm doing well today. Again, we've got a much more detailed mark scheme here, but the same words appear throughout. So that's what we're looking at, guys, all right? We're not just aiming for satisfactory work, okay? We're aiming for excellent work, which you can all achieve, okay? It's not that difficult to get into those top bands if you just listen to what your teachers are saying and put in a little bit of work, give a little bit of extra detail, and most importantly, justify your ideas. Now, looking at the two front covers, which again will hopefully appear later, it's clear that there are a lot of similarities between the way that the male cover stars are represented. For example, both cover stars portray the ideology of the magazines through the way that they emphasise their physique, in particular the biceps. Now, this helps them to convey the fact that the main narratives within the magazine are likely to be about building strength. In this sense, a further similarity between the cover stars is that they provide aspiration to the audience. They allow the demographic to feel that if they buy the magazine, they can follow the same steps to look like the stars on the cover, both of whom are portraying a traditional image of men as strong, fit and muscled. However, there are differences between the two front covers. For example, in GQ, Johnson's made a large focus not only through his image but also through the main cover line that uses his pseudonym, The Rock. As he's a well-known celebrity, he could act as a USP for the magazine, which helps to draw in audiences into the magazine. However, in Men's Health, despite being presented in a similar way, the cover star is not as large a focus. He uses indirect mode of address and does not have a matching cover line, which suggests that the producers are using him to represent and anchor the ideology of the magazine. A final difference is that Men's Health has a more narrowed and specific focus. The emphasis is purely on the health and fitness of the target male demographic. However, the cover lines in GQ indicate they're also promoting men's style, fashion, and mental well-being in their aspirational stories. Okay, so going through our bullet points then, definitely used terminology. Again, there's not as much theoretical framework in here as I would like. I am disappointed in myself. Story of my life, guys. Okay, disappointed in myself. So what you guys could do is take one of these paragraphs, rewrite it, pop it in the comments, use a theory in there to make my answer better. Okay, I have though given detailed comparisons between the set and unseen media product. I have given well-reasoned judgments, but one of the things that I've learned from the first year of going through the course fully, having a set of kids sit the exam, is that there needs to be a paragraph at the bottom here with an overall judgment. Overall, I feel that. Overall, I can tell that. Okay, and if you do that, then you'll be getting yourselves well into those top bands. Okay, and there he is. Brilliant. Here are our key terms for today then. Hopefully this video has helped you. Again, I'm not somebody who you guys should be looking at to give you all of the answers. You need to do a little bit of work yourself. So perhaps if you take some of those paragraphs that I've openly admitted aren't as great as I would like and rework them yourselves, then you're doing a little bit of work to help get you towards those top grades. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Hit the button down below, and if you hit the little bell icon next to it, you get instant notifications every time I upload a new video. And you can also get in touch with me through Twitter at media_revision or in the comments section down below, and I'll do my best to get back to each and every one of you. But I'll see you later for another video.